Alright, so today we are going to be finally somewhat finishing off the massive project that you've all been waiting for. Finally to see the farm running and everything like that. It's all this progress that we have been doing on this area. As you can see, it's taken multiple months. Of course, not fully just working on this area we have been doing, but on this scale it does take a lot of time. Now, we won't finish the whole decoration part for the other side in this episode more than likely, but at least we will have everything for the farm working and operational so we can actually start to use it, which of course is the main reason why we built the farm in the first place, to actually run it. Well, yeah. This was of course shown off in the very recent episode of the 2-year world tour, not before the project was completely finished, and it's still not even completely done, but obviously it's time for the video to go out. That way we have it all covered and we can finish the other side decoration at some point. But yeah, obviously this is not what the decoration looks like. This is probably going to give you a bit of a sneak peek of what is coming for the next episode. But I wanted to record somewhere, and this was the only spot that was available right now that I could really do without showing off too much, like far ahead. So those that don't know, we did basically reset our creative testing server. We're actually organizing everything in different areas now. That way we don't have stuff scattered randomly. We know exactly where to go for this item, this type of decoration, this AutoCrafter, this slimestone machine, this piece of decoration, all that kind of stuff. So we did that, which is lying in the middle of a perimeter that you will have to guess and see what is coming for the next episode. Get out of your way, and we'll go continue with the time lapse. Alright, so as you saw from that time lapse, we have the full nether side for the processing and storage that I made and everything like that, with the AutoCrafters and all that stuff added on to it. And it is all built up in the SMP now. This wasn't too bad, honestly. This actually did only take about like half a day or so. Obviously, the portals were the main difficult part. And then, of course, we have these tile entity-less block 36s, which is why this concrete powder is a bit higher than it normally would be on top of that fence gate. And that's for the arrows for the TNT looting. I can't explain what it exactly is used for because I really don't understand why we need them there. But of course, if you do want to see the main original designer from this, definitely go check out the link description down below. That leads to Bred's channel for the video for this farm. The cinematic at the start of the video there does fit the farm very well because it is ridiculously overkill, and the edit was also overkill as well. So a very good edit, and the farm also does, everything's all good, ready to go. Only thing we really need for the nether side left is a skeleton that can pick up stuff, which you got to put in this little cell here. Have a spawn-in pad or something. We definitely need to turn the mob switch off, which is going to be annoying. But we are completely done on another side in that sense. So all we need to do is just get that skeleton up into this pod here. We can get all the arrows into place. But then, of course, still need to finish the overworld side, which we are going to start now, which is what that message there from Dazi was in the chat, that all the materials for the overworld side are now ready. So we have all three of these portals linked up to their corresponding portal. This will be our player portals for now. We don't hardly know where we're actually going to put a player portal here. But yeah, this is all done. Now we have to do the overworld side, which is going to be a bit harder to do, mainly because of all the update suppression that needs to be done. Now, if you thought the nether side had a lot of update suppression, this just absolutely pushes that. So if we head up here real quick into NCS and we look at the portals up here and why this is going to take us such a long time to do in survival is because of these portals here. Now, they're not completely suppressed portals, which is very helpful, but then at the same time, there is a bit more to do because there is, the stairs here that are they need to be update suppressed, and then the water inside of them as well. And then, of course, the carpet on top of there. We also need to get turtles for each spawn-in pad. So I think that's like 12 turtles in total. So that'll be interesting as well. And then we have these top portals for the farm too. So these will take quite some time. I don't entirely know if I'm going to be doing the suppression because I honestly have no idea how to do most of this stuff. For this part of suppression, I did do all of the nether side suppression, which is actually a first for me and surprised me, but we did have to test it out a lot. So of course we'll probably make a backup once we do each individual layer here. That way we don't, mess up and then lose hours of suppression that we need to redo again, because this will take some time. So yeah, the bottom part here, very simple. Everything else like that, not a problem. It's when you get up to these actual spawn-in pads and things like that will actually take some time. All in all, the farm process has not been slow at all. Once we get to this overworld side here, for sure, it will slow down quite substantially. So yeah, let's click onto the overworld side. We'll probably come back once we have, a couple of update suppression here done, as provided that, Dazi or Rim don't finish all the update suppression before I'm able to get back. All right, just got done from a 2 and a bit hour stream where we moved villagers and everything like that for the bottom pods here, while the people that actually know how to do the overworld suppression are working on that. Basically what we did, we actually have 3 villages surrounding this area. So this is the main one where we had the bulk of the villagers that we moved over. And there's still actually some there in the back. There's a little hole in the back there. There's some villagers down there. But we got all of them transported over. There's 12 in total. I was being lazy, hence being lazy raid, and I didn't want to build a breeder. So instead of doing that, I brought villagers over from different villages, completely with just rails and mine carts, everything like that. And I got all of the villagers in place here in all different 12 spots, so 6 on each side. So if we were to run the farm at half speed, I think it's 8 game tick. We'd only run half of the farm, so you really only need half the villagers. But at the same time, why would you build this if you're only going to run half of it? I guess if your server can't handle the full thing, then half of it is fine. It's still plenty fast, but obviously we're going to try to run it at full speed to do that. It was running around 25 to 30 ms on the server, on the test server that we had the creative copy of this to plan it all out, make sure everything's all good to go before we started to build it on SMP, of course. The main server is a better CPU, motherboard, RAM, and everything like that, so hopefully it should perform better on here and everything like that. But yeah, got all the villagers in place. That took around, like I said, 2 and a bit hours to get all those in place from the actual villages themselves. And now it's just the overworld side here, the top part for the actual spawn-in pads and everything like that. So yeah, not too much left. It is a good amount left, but it's not too much in the sense compared to everything else that we have done so far. And we also have these turtles being worked on here. Once we need the turtles per layer, we should be able to get those into place fairly easily. Dazi is doing another side here with the carpets and everything like that. But we should be underway. Probably just getting down a rhythm to see what they need to do. It's a lot of update suppression. I barely understood how to do the Nether side, so the Overworld side is completely different to me, so I have no idea what to do for this. So I thank Dazi. Lots of work to still be done, even though it's sort of a small amount of the actual schematic. There's a lot more update suppression that needs to be done on the Overworld side compared to the Nether. So we will probably be back once the full thing is constructed, and we are ready to finish the farm off. Alright, so the Overworld side is completely done now. You can see we have some leftover turtles. I think there's like 5 on each side or something like that. So we did get a lot more than we actually needed. We only really needed 3 or 6 for each side. So you can see there's 2 turtles per boat. It's kind of weird having 2 turtles in there per boat, but they are both there. And that third is there to sort of give a bigger hitbox that's also lower than the stair. That way they still, all the ravagers and stuff, all the mobs get pushed into there. And then, yeah, so that's obviously the whole one. Like I said, the original creator for Bred will be in the description down below, the actual original video for this, where we did follow a lot of the tutorial and things like that. It's not a full tutorial, but it is like, you know, how to run it, how to set it up properly, and things like that. So make sure you go check that out in the description down below for the original video, because obviously we would not have been able to design this farm ourselves or anything like this craziness that we have done here. 2 wings, you can run it at fast speed or full speed, which is both the south and north. But yeah, so the grades of this are actually crazy, and we will see hopefully very soon when we start to actually run it, which will be for our we'll run it on stream, make sure it's all working then, and then if we need to run it any longer, of course we probably will, more pistons and things like that. We got the farms fully done. This Dazi, and like I said, it's basically a cheat code at this point. He created this whole Overworld side, and I think 24 total hours of like IRL time, not even constantly working on it. It was done 24 hours. Like, I don't know. He's amazing. We all love those. All the slice portals, all the carpets on top of the slice portals, and things like that. Yeah, absolutely maddening. Yeah, farm hopefully should work. We'll go test it out, of course, on stream. For the ease of, for the simplicity of adding players in, since we need to spawn them in another and then bring them to the Overworld side, what I did is I designed something here that will sort of help us with that. So obviously we need 3 players for each side in that UI that we'll go check in a second. We'll obviously drop all of them down in this one block right here. And they'll obviously go across to their destination. So the first one's going to go all the way over there. Actually, no, first one goes here. Second one goes there. Third one goes there. Where the redstone block is at the very end. And same thing for the other side. So the first one is the closest. Second is the second to farthest. And then third is the farthest. So I made this simple system that can very easily be improved, but for the sake of me understanding it. So obviously the first one we want it to go straight. We don't need to do anything. We just drop them down. The second one we need to retract this one. Falls to the next one. It goes across. The third one just needs to fall down to the bottom. Don't need any pistons to retract, things like that. So the third holes we need to reset it, which is what this counter does over here. So of course each one sends a pulse, and depending on where this observer is, it will send a pulse to this one first, this one second, that one third, which then resets everything all the way up. And that's all controlled with the player being up all the way up here. The portal. Now, why is the control up here? Well, that makes the player only has to hit 2 no blocks, transfer the player down, and then go across. And go back and do the same thing for the other 2 players. Makes it very easy to do. Of course, yes, this could be much more automated in a sense. So we don't, after the one just gets down there, it goes automatically. You don't need to do anything besides drop the villager. But this works really fine. I understand how to do it, which is all that really matters. You can, of course, change that for what you want. This was not added with the farm, so we had to make this addition ourselves, which I just then attached to the schematic for the regular one. But yeah, it does work. So that's all that really matters, like I said. And it should hopefully help speed up the process for getting the players to their required standing positions for the farm to work. Let's go do the stream, run this farm, and everything like that. Make sure it's all working. And we'll come back and reap the benefits of all the drops. Alright, so we did finish the stream, test the farm out. It does work. So obviously there's no lamp indicators on, just a quick test. And we still have basically no TNT left. We got just a few bits of TNT, actually, just a little bit. Okay, we got about 100,000, roughly a little bit more than that. Still saved in the system, which is about 5 hours of AFK at full speed, at full 4 game tick speed that the farm can run at, which is of course both sides. We also did find out that we can actually run it at half speed and still do other things on the server, which is really, really good. Run it at full speed. We're using about 40 ms or so with the spawn addition for obviously the spawn player for the bed. 40 ms in total with the farm running and everything like that. So we can't really do too much with the farm running at full speed. We can of course just use the farm at full speed for good of like not being the server for a little bit. Make the farm create a massive amount of redstone, which we'll use this farm for, and then we can then obviously go on our way with it. And we can even turn it off, turn it back into half speed. Still get an obnoxious 37,000 redstone per hour, which is absolutely insane thing about. That's half of the farm's capacity that it can do, but that is what it does. So, like I said, this is obviously all crafted into redstone blocks. I think we are hoping to build this whole thing up. We have about 5 or 6 of these, I think, of this. We can store a lot of redstone. Keep in mind, this is already in shulker boxes, and this is in redstone block form. So while it might not look like a lot, every single 3 of these shulker boxes is 100,000 redstone. So we have a good amount of redstone here already. Same thing for glowstone. This is 4 times kind of glowstone that you would have in dust form. And this is of course 9 times the amount you would have in there. And then we have our gunpowder left over, which we will then need to craft back into TNT so that we can then continue to use the farm. Because of course it does not create enough gunpowder to continuously supply itself the TNT that it does use for the farm. Which is why it's not really survival friendly, but we did it anyway because why not? We really want to do something a little bit different and non-practical. So this farm will probably get the farm that gets the most use on the server, just because it's the redstone is what we need mainly for pretty much everything. And yeah, you see that we did not finish the bedrock breaking here yet. This has been quite a project, and most people have kind of, including myself, even really given up doing this right now, so taking a break from it. And once that's done, we'll finish it off. Of course, our thinking is not great, so the bedrock here will be 4 blocks and everything like that from the decorations, so we'll kind of have to like work it around, which we can do, but it might look a little bit weird, but it saves us from having to do even more bedrock breaking, so I think it'll be worth it in the end. Of course, the pillars will have to be finished as well. But yeah, this will take time. If you ever get something we're bored to do, we don't know what to do, I'll send people over here to start doing some bedrock breaking. That way we can hopefully get this done relatively soon. It won't be in its own video, of course, finishing this off. But you'll, of course, see it in an episode if we do finish it off at some point. Which we, of course, will plan to do, hopefully, before the 2.5-year world tour. That way, it's fully done and we can show the full thing off for that tour. But yeah, huge shout out to Bred for this farm. Of course, there's still a lot of things we need to add, like, the collection, AutoCrafting area, the transportation, and the storage. But that's mainly down to Bred leaving that open to anybody that uses the farm. Of course, it wasn't actually meant to be built in survival, which is another thing why there wasn't anything attached to the farm. Of course, for the TNT reason, like I said before, but it's still quite an amazing farm to see and look even better once this decoration is fully done, of course. So yeah, appreciate that, subscribe, all sorts of things, and I'll see you in the next one.